Get 'em, Jimmy. Where low shack at? The bottle's getting empty. I'm not cracking. We stacking. Chips, all of this. What I want. Plus money winners. That's what I'm on. You could say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated. Who get produced? Play the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call the truth. They get slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and Lowbaggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we lead. Oh yeah, pubbing. We be pubbing.
Okay, hey everyone, welcome into another edition of Betting with Bouquett. My name is Jose Bouquett. Nice to see everyone in the chat bright and early. Jimmy the Bag out today, hanging out with his mother. Shout out to Jimmy the Bag. Good day for Jimmy the Bag as well yesterday. Let's get after it, guys. It's going to be a good day of sports here. We've got NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, full slate of MLB. It goes every day. And it's been fun. This is the best time of year, honestly, I think. It's nice having 2 playoff games a night, high stakes, good teams. It's fun to see. So it's very, very exciting time in the sports calendar. I went personally 1-1 yesterday in baseball. WNBA pod hit. That was cool. 3-1 overall in the WNBA. That's nice. MLB record's still shitty, but we're going to still work to climb out of it. Shout out to our guy Swig Bets, who has this lovely bet tracking thing that makes it a lot easier to shout everyone out. Billy Friedrich, we see you. Justin McElvey, both going 1-0 yesterday. Shout out to both of you as well. Jimmy went 4-3, up some units. That was nice. I went 2-1, up 0.87 units. So that's nice. Shout out to Justin on that team total over as well. I can only imagine, Justin, what that was like cashing that team total while you were there on that home run. That must have been very electric. Nice to see you. And in the chat early, as always, with the stacks play of the day, over 1.5 bases for Corey Seager. All right, let's keep going for the top of the chat. Truth teller in here, like Shota today, under 1.5 earned wins. Seth Lugo and Luca as well. Morgan Spooner, thanks for being in here. Some early looks as well. And shout out to Swiggy in there as well. Listen to what he says, guys. He's a good capper as well as a great website designer and maker as well. And yes, horrible call for the White Sox. That was disgusting stuff there. But like I said, I tweeted out, I was like, I'm just glad this happened to the White Sox in a Thursday game that no one really cared about, instead of like high stakes, high rewards game that will matter. So sorry to White Sox fans, but yes, horrible call. Serious business. Nice to see you, Subhuman Gaucho, Morgan Spooner, Tori Coker, Tori Two Horses today. Shout out to you, Tori, Joey Harb in the chat as well, Subhuman Gaucho, all you guys. Perky, nice to see you, Nasty Nate, all you guys. It's nice to see everyone in the chat as early as often. Let's see here. By the way, we will, again, give you guys the WNBA pod. I'll do that at the end of the program as well when we're talking about, we'll do it at the end of basketball, I should say. So we'll have NHL first with Bobano. Of course, he'll be joining us, as you guys saw in the thumbnail, for the entire program. So thank you, Bobano, for being a unicorn capper in that aspect. But he'll join us for the NHL playoffs, which was really good last night. Connor McDavid coming through in overtime. And I think it was double overtime, actually. But I'm glad he did, too, because high stick, 4-minute penalty. I was like, oh, boy, here we go. The narratives write themselves. Then doesn't bury that open net shot with Ottinger. Great save as well. So very interesting. But it's going to be interesting to watch. It's going to be interesting to watch and see how all this unfolds as well. And obviously the Celtics just go out there and just put a whooping on the Pacers. That was great to see. We'll see how Halliburton bounces back. Ye old hamstring was barking for Halliburton, but we'll see. We'll see how all that shakes out. I do expect the Celtics to obviously win. I thought they were going to win in 5. So maybe they sweep. Who knows? But we'll see who wins in this Western Conference battle here, because we're going to talk about it today. Mavericks, Wolves. Wolves are obviously down 1-0. I thought the Wolves win in 5. So we'll see how it goes. But let's waste no more time here and let's get after it here, because it's going to be an interesting card to say the least here. And, perhaps I get in some NHL action here as well. Let's bring on our guy for the whole program, basically co-hosting the show with me, old Ian Cameron, a.k.a. Bobano Betts. Bobano, it's nice to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Jose. Good job filling in for our guy Jimmy today. Shout out to everyone in the chat. And I'm here for the whole kit and caboodle, using an old term there. Baseball, basketball, hockey. So looking forward to it.
Exciting. My first question, I know it's coming, Bobano. It's not here yet, but it's almost Ticats season. So I need to ask you early how you feel about your Ticats real quick.
Very interesting season because, for years they've been probably the team to beat in the East Division at the very least. And for the first time in years, there's not a lot of hype. There's not a lot of expectations coming into the season locally, with the fan base. A lot of people have seen them kind of take not a huge step back, but they haven't been nearly as good the last couple of years. This year, it's kind of like the hype is away. The expectations are off their shoulders, and there's people maybe not expecting as much from the Ticats this year. And I actually like that for them. They can fly under the radar. They're in a division where there's question marks with the Toronto Argonauts, with Chad Kelly being suspended for the first half of the season for more of his conduct off the field.
Yeah, I heard about that. I was like, oh no, Chad Kelly up to no good again. And then I heard what he did, and I was like, Chad.
Yeah. Just, it's not the first time he's done this kind of stuff. It's obviously been following him around before. And unfortunately, more issues with him off the field. And he's suspended now for the first half of the CFL season. And then, of course, the Montreal Alouettes, who, how good are they? They're the defending Grey Cup champs. They're in the East Division, but are they a great team, or do they just get red hot, down the stretch to win the Grey Cup, which is kind of what happened. They had a strong finish, and then they just rode it into the playoffs, beating the Ticats, the Argos, huge upset over the Argos that was in the East Final, and then winning the Grey Cup in my backyard in Hamilton, which is where the Grey Cup was last year, against Winnipeg. So we'll see how good they are. The bottom line is Toronto's got questions. Ottawa's still not going to be very good. They're going to be better, but they've got such a big gap to make up that it's still going to take them some time. And then you've got Montreal, where I question, are they really good, or do they just, catch fire down the stretch? So there's an opportunity for Hamilton to kind of just slide under the radar. Who knows, maybe steal the division. I do like their win total over 8.5. That's just a little too low. They were 8-10 last year, and they had all kinds of quarterback injuries. They were down to their third string quarterback, Taylor Powell. Mitchell was injured. Schultz was injured. All they need is one more win than last year, with, I think, a healthier team, and probably they're going to have less bad injury. I think they can. All you're asking is them to be not what if they win 9 games, they're a 500 team. They're 9-9 because it's an 18-game season. So I don't think that's asking too much. So I don't know about win the division, but I like that win total for the Ticats. I think they're an over 8.5 team.
All right, see, there we go. We get a little taste of the Ticats there as well. So very
2
interesting.
weeks, Jose, and the season starts. Like week 1 is in 2 weeks. It's right around the corner.
See, there we go. 2 weeks. Well, Bobano, what is exciting is, this NHL playoffs. And I sat down and obviously watched a good portion of last night's game. We'll talk about Edmonton, Dallas in game 2 tonight. Let's talk about game 1 first. Florida, New York.
Game 2,
Rangers,
Panthers,
here.
Rangers. Yep.
Yes, game 2, game 1 on our slate here.
Oh, okay.
So let's talk about it. Obviously, Florida wins 3-0. I don't know what to call that from the New York Rangers. I don't know if the Panthers just flexed their muscle and just showed that they're the better squad here. But I know guys like TJ in the chat, big Rangers guy, he's hanging on every puck here, and I'm going to be very interested to hear what you have to say about this game, Bobano. I'll break down the market, and I'll pass it off to you here because obviously you know these teams better than I do. But it's pretty even money line split here, which is nice because the money lines are low, so you can get a good reading on that. 52% of the bets, 55% of the money on the Rangers here. So slightly on the Rangers, you could say. Totals wise here, let's talk about it. 57% of the bets and 54% of the money on the over. All pretty tight here. And we have slight movement down towards the Rangers. This opened up at minus 115. down to minus 108 at Bet Online. Opened up at minus 112 at Bovada and still there now. So very interesting. These lines are obviously pretty sharp now at this point of the year, Bobano. What do you think of this Rangers series? I mean, are the Rangers just not good enough? They've finally met their match here with the Florida Panthers, who I think might win the Cup here. What do you think?
Yeah, you know what, Jose? This is still to me a series that could be back and forth, but because the Rangers have been a good bounce back team. As far as losing 2 in a row at home, I don't know if they've done that very often. But there's just something about game one where there's a lot that I was concerned about. Now, I know the danger chances were only 8-7 for Florida. The expected goals were 2 to 1.87 for Florida. So it's not like it was as dominant as it looked to the eye, but it did look like Florida controlled the play. The Rangers had trouble getting out of their own zone. The offensive zone time in game one was heavily in Florida's favor. Unless the Florida Panthers are going to make a parade to the penalty box here, which they did not do in game one, I have a hard time believing that, the Rangers are going to have a ton of offensive success. But Bobrovsky's given up 2 goals or less now in 6 straight games as well. So while Igor Shesterkin's probably for the whole playoffs been maybe the best goaltender, Sergei Bobrovsky's really heating up. Now, it's not like he was bad before these last 6 games. He was still pretty good, but the way he has played here lately has been incredible in between the pipes. So we'll see how this one plays out. I'm actually doing something a little bit different here because I think this is a tricky game just betting the money line, just betting aside. Florida, if you look at game one, I think you have to kind of lean to Florida because they just look like they're better a little bit than the Rangers right now. But as Gaucho says in the chat, there's a Rangers team that all season long, after a loss at Madison Square Garden, that's exactly what I said a moment ago, Gaucho, that they have just not lost 2 games in a row on home ice this year very often, if at all. 11-0 after in a home game after a home loss. And that's the situation here for the Rangers tonight. So it's a really tricky side. So I'm getting a little creative here with my approach here for this game. It's I don't like doing it because usually when I'm giving out recommendations on the show, it's usually I like straight bets. I don't like to go like with the same game parlay type of route, but I feel I'm going to do that here because it definitely makes some sense to do it. And what I'm going to look at here with that is we're going to take Florida here plus 1.5 on the puck line. New York Rangers plus 2.5 on the puck line and under 6.5 for the game. Okay, let me repeat that. That's the same game parlay. That's Rangers plus 2.5, Panthers plus 1.5, and under 6.5. Actually, you know what? I'm going to see what the Florida plus 2.5 would give me. Actually, that's a little safer. I think I'll do that instead. Minus 120 is the odds for this. Rangers plus 2.5, Panthers plus 2.5, under 6.5. Minus 120. It's the same game parlay. So basically, what I'm looking at here is Panthers to win by 2 goals or fewer, or the Rangers to win by 2 goals or fewer. And I think that's a very reasonable expectation. Because look, I know it was 3-0 in game one, so that wouldn't have worked out well. But I do expect the Rangers to have a better effort tonight. I don't know if it's going to be good enough to win, Jose, but I do think it's going to be good enough to be competitive. Be in this game, give Florida a battle. I just don't know if they're good enough, and the way Bobrovsky's playing, the way they're not taking penalties, the way they're defending. I really do think that's a solid approach here for game 2 tonight, that we're going to get a 2-goal margin of victory at the most for either of these teams tonight. So this is going to be, for me, Panthers plus 2.5, Rangers plus 2.5, under 6.5 in a same game parlay, minus 120.
Okay, beautiful. Basically, keep it close and under parlay for Bobano. I like that look there. So Human also likes it. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. So shout out to you, Bobano.
Now,
Let's
plus
move
1.5. My initial what I initially said with Florida in that same game parlay leg gives you a plus price. I just think plus 2.5 is a little safer, and at minus 120 is a good enough price. So I like that one.
Cool. Well, I like that look, Bobano. Like I said, it's the keep it close and under parlay.
Yeah.
And I'll be thinking about it today, especially.
And you get
So
6.5 instead of 5.5 with the under, so you get a little more security. Even though
yeah,
it looks like this could be a series where goals might be few and far between and scarce. Because if the goals didn't happen in Game 1, and Game 1s have historically been strong overs here in the Stanley Cup playoffs, if it didn't happen in Game 1 with a ton of goals, is it going to happen at all in this series, especially with the way Shesterkin and Bobrovsky are both playing right now?
yeah, that's one thing I've learned from Jimmy. Two goalies from the same place, they're gonna play well, and two Russian goalies especially. So, all right, let's keep it rolling here. On to Game 2 here tomorrow. What a game it was last night, Edmonton, Dallas. Again, I was very happy because I want Connor McDavid to, ascend and be greatness, all that stuff. And I was very pleased that they killed that penalty and then he scored the game winner. It was a great shot, all that stuff. It was like unsavable, and it had to be one of those kind of things to score on Ottinger because he's been incredible. But now we've got a Dallas Stars team with their backs against the wall. It's juiced to -135, maybe for a reason. It's going to be very interesting to see how they come out here. Especially shout out to Sagan, who was just a menace just all night. All night, every time I saw him on the ice, he was trying to just flatten an Oiler or just chatting shit, getting into the Oilers' head. And as I was like, damn, I would fucking hate to play this guy. And I was just thinking that the whole time. So shout out to him. Let's go to some early bets here on the Edmonton Oilers and Dallas Stars game. Obviously, these things will probably change. We won't have any money line markets here, but we can get some early looks at the total because this line opened up. Let's see here. I'm on money line. Let's go to total here. This opened up at a 6, juice to the under. We're actually seeing a 5.5 at Bookmaker now. Very interesting. They open up at 5.5, juice to the over. 67% of the bets and 65% of the money early on is on the over in this game. So that's very interesting. Bobano. Again, this is a backs to your wall, backs against the wall. Both roads teams won game 1 here. The home teams are going to have to fight back here, or else they lose the all kind of home ice advantage here. And admittedly, I do want the Oilers to win this series because, again, McDavid bias, but I don't know if the Stars can just take that lightly and go quietly, especially with how well Skinner played. I was pretty shocked by that, matching Ottinger. Not maybe save for save, but doing just enough to get the job done. And it helped that I think Dallas hit the post 3 times, and it was just crazy. So, Bobano, take it away. Stars, Oilers, what do you think?
Yeah, this is what Dallas does. Nothing I saw surprised me. They just don't play well in Game 1, or they just find a way to lose game. I don't want to say they didn't play well, but they find a way to lose in Game 1. They've done this all playoffs. They've done this the last 6 Game 1s they've played under Peter DeBoer, the head coach. So none of that surprised me. They're now 0-6 in their last 6 Game 1s. They lost Game 1 to Vegas in the first round. They lost Game 1 to Colorado in the second round. But guess what happened? They still went on to win the series both times. So I'm not panicking if I'm a Dallas Stars fan. I expect them to be a lot sharper. Remember, they were off a long layoff too, Friday to Thursday after they knocked off Colorado. Edmonton was much more in rhythm. It's a big part of why I liked Edmonton last night. I took Edmonton in Game 1. I thought that was a big reason why, plus those Game 1 struggles for Dallas. I expect Dallas to be better here. Jake Ottinger's a bounce-back goaltender. The one goal, I thought, by Hyman, he probably should have stopped. It went right through his wickets there in between the legs, the 5-hole, didn't close it, and it allowed Edmonton to get the 2-0 lead. Other than that, I don't think you could have blamed Ottinger, but he did get outplayed last night by Stuart Skinner. He was absolutely outstanding. Give Stuart Skinner credit, because there was people wondering if he'd even see the net again after the way he started in that Vancouver series, which was not good. But he's bounced back. He's now had a couple of really good performances in a row. I thought last night was his best game, because I thought Edmonton did a great job shielding Stuart Skinner in Game 6 and 7 against Vancouver. He didn't face a ton of shots. They really defended well in front of him. Last night, they did defend well, but he did have to face more pucks. He did have to face more rubber. He did have to face a lot more high-danger chances, and he was able to get the job done with a much more difficult night for him to have to stop the puck last night, and he got the job done. That's a really good sign for Edmonton moving forward. That being said, I think it is a Dallas bounce back spot in game 2. This is what they did against Colorado, where they lost game 1. And what I like, too, is they lost game 1 against Colorado in overtime. You always want to see, how do you respond, right? Tough to lose in overtime in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Do you bounce back, or do you just does it really, really hurt you mentally and really chip away at your confidence? Well, Dallas bounced back strong against Colorado. They played a very good game 2. They got ahead, I think, 3-0 at one point in game 2, and then they just rolled the victory from that point. Actually, it was 4-0 it got to for Dallas. Yeah, Colorado made a push late. But Dallas ended up getting the victory there, and they had a great start. So I do think Dallas responds here. What I'm going to do here, Jose, is I'm going to do 2 bets with involving Dallas here. The money line, we're just going to go straight forward with that on the Dallas Stars. And I'm also going to split it with the team total for Dallas here in game 2. I do think they're going to do a better job of maybe getting traffic in front of Stuart Skinner. I think they could have done a better job of that last night. So minus 135 for Dallas money line. And I'm also going to tack on Dallas team total. Really nice price, over 3.5 plus 130 at Pinnacle.
Wow. That's very good there. Bobano, I looked at the series prices. Minus 190 Oilers, plus 165 Dallas. It sounds like you still think Dallas wins this series as well.
Yes, the only reason I would not bet the adjusted series price right now is because I'm already invested with futures to win the West and futures to win the Stanley Cup on the Dallas Stars. And a preseason position that I took, by the way back in the fall, September, before the season started. So plus 700 on Dallas to win the West, plus 1,700, 17-1 for them to win the Stanley Cup. So I'm letting that ride. And like I said, they've been here before, losing game 1, and they've still gone on to win the series through the first 2 rounds.
Do you have any futures on the Eastern Conference teams?
Florida. I do have Florida, Dallas.
So you're just rooting Florida. Yeah, you're just rooting Florida.
Be the dream Stanley Cup final for me, because then we're going to cash both conference futures and guaranteed to cash one of the cup futures. Yep.
All right. Well, I'll be reading that for you as well. All right. Beautiful. Shout out to the chat. Bobano, I'm assuming we're not going to get any Rupee Hints news until closer to game time, I assume.
Day to day, yeah, we'll find out tomorrow, probably morning skate. If he's on the ice, he's probably playing. If he's not, we're probably going to have to wait till at least game 3 for his return.
Okay, so keep that note of as well. Would you expect him to play in this game? Just a guess.
He's getting close. I don't want to say for sure, but if you ask me now that they lost last night, I could see him pushing to make a return.
That's what I was figuring as well. All right, beautiful. Well, Bobano, thank you as always. Let's review your action here in the NHL. Let's start with Florida, New York Rangers, and then we'll get back to Edmonton here. But what are you on today?
Yeah, just to be honest, that's the only bet I've made on the Florida Rangers game. Florida Rangers game is that same game parlay. Florida plus 2.5, New York plus 2.5, under 6.5, minus 120. And then the other bets were Dallas minus 135, game 2 against Edmonton, and Dallas team total over 3.5 plus 130.
All right, beautiful, Bobano. All right, let's move on to the hardwood here. And everyone loves talking NBA. I hate betting the NBA, as everyone knows it, because it's exceedingly difficult. But let's chat about these playoffs because they are very fun to talk about here. Game 2 here, Dallas, Minnesota. I was surprised at how Dallas came out. Kyrie, that was very veteran savvy of Kyrie to come out and just go at Anthony Edwards immediately. I was pretty surprised by that. They knew they'd be tired off of game 7. All smart. But I still think, and Bobano, I'm in the minority, the very small minority. Like I don't look at NBA odds, obviously. I don't even know that the Celtics were minus money to win the championship for a while now. I had no idea. That's crazy to me because I was like, yeah, I thought the Wolves would be favored against them. But no, they would not apparently. But I think Minnesota's very good. I think they win this series still, and I still think they win it in 5 games, honestly. I'm going to be very interested to see how they bounce back here, how Ant bounces back. Cat had a great game. We'll see if he can do that again. But Boban, I'm very interested to hear your takes on this game. Let's go to the market. First off, everyone loving some Timberwolves today. 63% of the bets and 75% of the money on the Timberwolves spread here. So very interesting. Let's talk totals here, and everyone loving the over, Bobano. Wow, 96% of the bets, 97% of the money on the over. That is crazy to me there. This line opened up Minnesota 4.5, now up to 5.5. That makes sense. Let's check out this total. Man, I might be making an NBA bet here. Jeez, this opened up at 208, Bobano, and it goes down to 207 with everyone betting the over. This reeks like an under to me, Bobano.
Smells like you're stealing Razor Sharp Picks' theory of style of how to bet.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Why is that? We're just going to take this under. Pig milk play of the day, under 207 there. Pretty easy look for me as well. And Billy's saying it's not even going to break 200. Well, Bobana, I'll let you take the floor here. I'm going to move on the under in this game. What do you think?
So I'm not on the over either. I like the over in game one. I just thought it set up well. You have first game of a series, high scoring, loose defensive intensity, and that's exactly what we saw. My only concern with the under is, look, Minnesota's been going over these kind of numbers a lot lately. And all of a sudden, since Dallas saw these totals fall below 210, their last two games have gone over as well. So just based on where the number is, it could be tight as far as, where it lands. But it does feel like after an extreme high-scoring affair and 30 points each from Luka and from Kyrie in Game 1 in that Dallas victory, there should be some better defensive adjustments here, especially for Minnesota here tonight in this game. So I think stylistically and theoretically, if you look at just the game-to-game, diversity you'll see in a playoff series, there's a good chance I think we see a lower-scoring game tonight. I'm not on the total. I am on Minnesota, but now with this number up to 5.5, and I have the full game as well for the show, I'm just going to make the first quarter and the first half my official looks as far as this is concerned. Because let's be real, if they're not leading after the first quarter, and especially after the first half, what are the odds of them, covering the full game point spread? Probably not very good. So if Minnesota doesn't have that good start here tonight in game two, I think they're probably going to be up against it here a little bit. In this game. So I'm going to lock those two in. I do think they start strong. Don't forget, even though they lost game one, and again, they need Anthony Edwards probably to take his game to another level. It's probably not a bad night to look at Ant-Man over points just because, he's got to step it up. Less than 20 points from him in game one is not what you need from him. And you need a little bit more than that because I thought McDaniels and, I like Karl Anthony Towns over points tonight. Actually, I think the cat prop I might make official here. As an official play, because I really do think he's got the potential. He should do damage because the Dallas front court is still not all that intimidating. This should be an opportunity for Karl Anthony Towns to be able to make an impact, get baskets. Remember, he can step out and shoot the three ball as well for Minnesota. So I'm gonna put that prop on the official card. But 3 plays I'll make official here. I do think it's a strong start. Minnesota was up by 6. After the first quarter in game one, and they were leading at halftime, even though they ended up losing the game in game one. It was the second half where things kind of unraveled for Minnesota. So I do think they have a strong start. I do think they win the game and probably cover the full game number as well. But with the number creeping up with the full game spread, I feel a little bit better just keeping it to the first quarter and the first half with the Timberwolves. So Minnesota first quarter, -2, -110 at DraftKings. Minnesota first half, -3.5, -110 at Bet Rivers. And we'll lock in that Karl Anthony Towns over points prop, which is over 20.5, -115 at DraftKings.
Right. Beautiful Bobano. Everyone knows Operation Garcia. I'm pretty sure Jimmy's still doing it. So we'll see how those results go at the end of the I guess on Wednesday when he comes back. But I'm very interested, obviously, to see if they end up doing well. And hopefully this under comes through for us, Billy Friedrich. I'll be thinking about you tonight because I'm on it officially. Bobano just gave his action, first quarter, first half, and some cat. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch this game. All right, Bobano, let's go to Boston, Indiana. This Celtics team is very good. Everyone knows that. It's 2-0. Halliburton's sore hamstring. I think he obviously plays in this game. Who knows if it affects him, but I think they knew they were getting their ass kicked, so they just took him out and just let him do some rehab early and get ready for game 3. However, I just don't think this Pacers team has enough for this Celtics team. I think the Celtics are just that good, unfortunately, for this league. They're just going to roll through this Pacers team. I'd be surprised, honestly, at this point. I'd be surprised if the Pacers won a game, but maybe I'm being biased Celtics fan, Bobano. I don't know. But it just seems like finally Joe Mazzulla woke up from his haze, and I still think he's a better coach than Rick Carlisle. But he woke up and he's went small last game, and then we saw a lot of Tatum at the 5, and it was great, and they blew him out. And I think that's just and ultimately has to be what the Celtics have to do, match their smalls and just beat them down like that, because Tatum's a big enough guy to run the 5, and obviously it worked that well. So we're going to be very interested to see how that translates on the road here. I mean, the Celtics lost that playing game in Indiana already once, so I'll be interested to see how it goes for them here. Let's talk about the markets in this game. Again, it's still a day early, so these markets will change, I'm sure, but we can still look at them, get an early indication of what people are betting. 55% of the bets and 50% of the money early on the Indiana Pacers. Totals wise here, kind of unsurprisingly, all the early money, 96% of the bets and 99% of the money on the over in this game here as well. Totals wise, again here, this opened up allegedly at a 226.5, but that was at 10:38 last night and has just plummeted down to 222.5. That was on Bet Online. Bovada opened this up at 224.5, and it's plummeted down to 222.5 as well. And Bookmaker here opened up at 227. Jesus. And went all the way to do 222.5 as well. Very interesting as well. Maybe another playoff under here coming through here, Bobano. I'm going to be interested in this game, obviously. I'll be watching. I think the Celtics win by how much is always the question for this team, because they're ridiculous spreads. But I have no opinion so far, Boban. I want to hear what you have to say, obviously, on a big Celtics series, especially after coming off a dominant win. Can the Pacers bounce back here?
They might. They at least to cover. They might, because Boston. We've done this so many times with Boston, where they do have that dominant game. They do look like they finally put their foot down on an opponent last game 2, obviously last night against the Pacers, and now all of a sudden Halliburton's hurt, hamstring, may not play here in game 3, and whether he plays or not, this has all the makings of a sleepwalk for Boston. It really does. You know, that they go to Indiana up 2-0, and they've had these games before where they play with their food. It's happened a bunch in these playoffs. It happened in a couple of the Miami games. It happened in a couple of the Cleveland games, where even the ones they won but they didn't cover. You know, there was one game in Cleveland where they won but they didn't cover, and they just fucked around. You know, they'd get up by 10. Cleveland would cut the lead down to 2 or 3, and I think that's the kind of game this is going to be, where Boston, you know, is probably going to be ahead, but they're not going to be able to put the foot down and blow out Indiana, because I don't know if mentally they're going to be there. You know, they've had this happen way too much to them here in the playoffs. And if it's going to happen, I would think after a convincing win last night, it will. And I think Indiana, the strength of that home floor at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, where they played some really good basketball this year, I think is enough to maintain them being competitive here. I don't know about win the game, but this is the gotta have it spot for Indiana. This is the empty the gas tank. Leave it all out on the basketball court, because you're absolutely finished if you're down 3-0. You're probably not winning the series anyway, but you know, if you go down 3-0, you're fucked. You're done. So I do expect Indiana to not roll over, to not go down without a fight, to at least go down swinging. We did see a great effort in game 1. Obviously a step back last night with the way it went in game 2, but for me, it's Indiana or nothing. I will make Indiana official. I'll take them plus 7.5, minus 115 at Betway.
Yeah, I was thinking in my head, if you'd like the Celtics to win this game, you bet Indiana plus 7.5. And if you like the Pacers in this game, you just take the money line and just roll here, which is kind of funny. So, yeah, I'm
not that confident in Indiana, but you're right. They've been perfect at home. I think there's enough character on this team. Siakam's won a championship. TJ McConnell's a bulldog type player if he has to play more with Halliburton out. They've still got, Miles Turner. They've got Neesmith. They've got Nemhard, my fellow Canadian, to, pull up their bootstraps, do a little bit more if Halliburton plays. I don't know about win, and I'm not that confident, that gutsy to take Indiana money line, but I like the 7.5 with them.
All right, 7.5. What juice did you get at? -115, you said?
Yep, -115 at Betway.
All right, beautiful Bobano. That is, and yeah, people are starting to realize the pace quickens a bit when it's me and Bobano. Quickens a bit.
Hey, I'm waiting for the total to
is.
drop further, and if it does, I'm going to be on the over again in this series for the third straight time. I know Halliburton, everyone's reacting to that, but the pace isn't going to go away for Indiana even without him. They're still going to play fast. They're still going to try to look to score in transition. So I'll be looking at over at the lowest number I can get.
Okay, beautiful. And yes, obviously we're doing this a day early, so Halliburton news will come out closer to game time. Keep an eye on that. I expect him to play. Bobano, assuming you expect him to play as well.
I'm not certain, but he's going to have a day, to rehabilitate and see if that hamstring's good to go. And look, if anything, we've got to lock it in now for the show. But if he's ruled out, you might even see 8.5, 9 on Boston, by tip off. So, I'll probably add a little more Indiana if he's ruled out, because I still think they could hang in there and Boston could sleepwalk. Like I said, oh, no Halliburton. How easy is this going to be? And that's a mentality that could creep in for the Celtics and go through the motions, and they win like a 3 or 4 point game.
Yeah, I mean, they did the exact same thing with the Heat and Jimmy Butler. So, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly there. So, just keep an eye out for those Halliburton news, as always. All right, that concludes the NBA. And yes, like I said, the pace is quicker, and maybe you guys will be able to watch some other shows here as well, and those watching the replay, maybe you can watch it once or twice now. But yes, appreciate you guys in here watching the program live, commenting your plays, helps out us a lot. And we appreciate it as always. Let's get into the MLB here. Bobano, I've gotten my ass kicked in the last 30 days. The website, by the way, that Sean, our website guy, he has this tracking thing, and I scrolled all the way to the bottom of the last 30 days because I knew I'd be down there. I've been getting my ass whooped. But that is going to change here. The tides are turning. I've seen a lot of people in the chat also feeling the same way I have been about, baseball and the market recently. And we're going to eventually, I think that will change. And it's going to be very interesting to see when it does. But let's get into this slate here. We'll start off with Braves Pirates because there's no pitcher for the Braves. I still don't know who's pitching. Bobano, no indication for you as well, I assume?
I don't see a starter for the Braves yet. So I've got Bailey Falter, the lefty, for the Pirates, but we don't have anyone yet for Atlanta.
Yeah, so I'm obviously not going to bet this game. There's a pitcher that comes out during the show. We'd appreciate if you guys shouted him out. Bailey Falter, surprisingly has been quite good in spots. Good enough to the point where I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he got traded to some contender during the trade deadline. 7 2/3, 3 hits, shutout against the Cubs last time out. I respect him enough to not automatically fade him anymore as he once used to be. So no action for me. Boban, do you have any thoughts on this game before we roll on?
No, just that Bailey Falter's actually been better than I thought, because I've tried going against him a couple times and hasn't always worked out well. But look, he's been good. I mean, he's given up just 5 earned runs in his last 18 innings of work. Only 1 and 2 in those starts are the Pirates, but it's not because of Bailey Falter pitching poorly. He's pitched well. He gave him a chance against the Rockies, the Cubs twice, pitched well against them, back-to-back against those Cubbies. He did have a bad outing last year, though, when he pitched against Atlanta. 4 runs, 8 hits, 4 innings in that game against the Braves last year. So it's a troubling sign. And the Braves, it's weird. Their season numbers against lefties aren't bad, but the last, I would say 20, 30 days, they're not hitting lefties as well all of a sudden. 2.7 runs per game, 219 average against lefties in their last 10. So it's a little bit concerning. I have nothing on this game, and either at the moment, we'll see who's starting for Atlanta later.
Yeah, no action for me here as well. If it's Darius Vines, like Lee Davis sees at some places, I'd still probably not move. Maybe a lean over, but yeah, no action for me. Let's go to Toronto, Detroit, and Bobano. I'm glad you're here because I am a biased asshole when it comes to Alek Manoah. I do not like him as a pitcher. And I've faded him so successfully recently that I've just automatically faded him, especially his last two starts. And, I got lucky in Minnesota that they came through, the bullpen collapsed. But I did not get as lucky against Tampa Bay. He went 7 innings, 1 hit, 7 Ks, 1 walk last time out. And I will put this flatly to you, Bobano. Is Alek Manoah back?
He might be. That was phenomenal out of him against Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And do you look at the box score? Look at the stat line. That was as good a starting pitching performance from Alek Manoah that he's ever had, ever. And I'm including that year where there was Cy Young talk for the guy, years ago. That's how good that start was for him. Like, he was getting swings and misses. There was great movement on his pitches all of a sudden. It wasn't staying flat over the plate, middle of the plate to get walloped. 10 strikeouts in 6 innings in that start as well. So he's been absolutely tremendous. He was absolutely outstanding in that start for the Toronto Blue Jays against the Rays. 7 strikeouts, not 10, but still 1 hit, shutout baseball in 7 innings he had against the Rays in that last start. And look, he pitched pretty well before that as well. So this is definitely positive signs for Alek Manoah. There's no question about that. So we'll see how he fares here. Matt Manning, on the other hand, for the Detroit Tigers, he's actually someone I've looked to back as well, but I just haven't been impressed here in the season. Disappointing. He's taken a step back, in my opinion. He hasn't been great. He's given up at least 4 runs in 3 of his last 4 starts, rocked by Arizona in his last outing. 4 runs, 10 hits, 5 innings in that start. Walks have been a little bit of an issue here for Manning in recent outings. So I do have to give the Jays and Alek Manoah a little bit of an advantage here. And look, they've won 3 of their last 4 games all of a sudden, and they're showing little tiny signs that the offense is starting to hit. That's back-to-back games now where they've scored 9 runs. Manoah's starting to pitch well. This is starting to get the feel of, we think eventually the Jays are going to get on a little bit of a run. They can't be this bad for 162 games. That would be shocking. That eventually they're going to go on some kind of little bit of a run. And this might be the team they continue this run against, because the Tigers they've hit the shits. I mean, they've lost 5 in a row. They're not hitting right now. The bullpen's been bad. So I like the Jays here. First 5 full game. I'm going to split it up with both, with Toronto here. I'm going to go Blue Jays first 5, -118 at Bet Rivers, and Blue Jays full game -124 at Pinnacle here in this one. And by the way, what a shit show at Comerica Park with the television broadcasts of this game.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was so confused. I was trying to click it. I was like, why does this game say it's going, but this has not started? What is going on here?
The fucking power went out with all the TV trucks in the parking lot of Comerica Park. Every TV truck down without power. So there was the Detroit local television broadcast had no broadcast, no signal for a while. The Blue Jays broadcast had no signal. Eventually, they got a video feed, I know, on the Blue Jays broadcast. And here's Dan Shulman, God bless him. No wonder he's a great broadcaster. Dan Shulman is basically using his fucking cell phone to give play-by-play of the game, because they didn't have their microphones, obviously. They had no power with those in the booth. So he's using his cell phone, dialed up a number on the cell phone, put it over the air, and calling the game with Joe Siddle, his partner, basically over a cell phone. And it's just like you're talking to someone on a cell phone. It's like all tinny, but I guess it's better than no play-by-play at all. So shout out to Dan Shulman making something out of just an impossible situation last night. Never seen anything like it. And they didn't really get fixed until the 6th or 7th inning, when finally power was restored and the normal broadcasts were back. So, but for like the first 5-6 innings of that game, I'm listening to Dan Shulman doing play-by-play in the booth in Detroit on his cell phone, on a cell phone call. Crazy.
That's hilarious. Yeah, in 2024, that shit's happening is crazy. Well, I hope that shit goes on today. I'm semi-interested in the Blue Jays here as well, Boban. I'll tell you that. Market splits in this game. It's very interesting. A market I typically don't like to back here, but 74% of the bets and only 36% of the money are on the Blue Jays, and yet the line has moved in their direction here. This opened up at minus 105 each way at Bet Online, now up to minus 127 for the Toronto Blue Jays here. Let me refresh my odds sheet as well to get some latest odds. Minus 130 at Bovada now as well. Opened up at minus 109 here. That is crazy. I wonder what my book is giving me for the Toronto Blue Jays. Right now, I am getting a minus 126 if I wanted to back them full game. And first five, minus 125 here. Very interesting. You guys see that money and all that tickets on one side, or should I say that all those tickets on one side and little money, I expect the other way, but that's very interesting. So I won't be moving on them yet. I'll have them on potential bets, but let's keep it rolling here. And yes, I backed Matt Manning as well at several points. Thought he'd have a good season, but he has regressed to say the least. So no action here so far for me. Bobano on Blue Jays first five full game. Let's go to Seattle versus Washington. And George Kirby. He has not been pitching well. And it's broken my heart because everyone knows I love George Kirby. But his two of his last three starts have been bad. Last time out against Baltimore, a good opponent, yeah, but an opponent that Seattle needs you to pitch well against. 6 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned runs on 2 home runs. 3 Ks, no walks. There's never going to be any walks with George Kirby. We know that. Against the Royals, he went 7 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 6 Ks, no walks. Great. But then he went against Minnesota, another good team. I don't know how good, but they're a decent team, I should say. 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned runs on 3 home runs. 4 Ks, 1 walk there. So I just can't trust the guy right now, unfortunately. And sure, it's the Nationals, but the Nationals, quietly have been decent. We know they've been a team that we've backed at several points and made money. Let's talk about their numbers against righties real quick. Full season, they're not that impressive, but we'll look from the 8th to the 24th real quick as well. Full season, their 94 weighted runs created plus is good for 24th in the league. Obviously not good enough. For the last few weeks, their numbers against righties, 26, 82 weighted runs created plus. Just not hitting righties recently, so this might be the spot here for them, or for Kirby, I should say. Now let's talk about Mackenzie Gore on the other side, who obviously, again, if we're going to pick a best pitcher on the Washington Nationals here, it's him and Jake Irvin battling for that spot. Now, Gore has not been phenomenal like he was at several points last year. It's been basically 6 innings-ish, around 2 earned runs. 6 2/3, 3 hits, 2 earned runs against the Phillies. 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned against the Red Sox. He got crushed against the Blue Jays. But, it's kind of a tough back here. Maybe you consider a sneaky over in this game. Let's talk about the markets now. Market in the Seattle Mariners, Washington Nationals. We have 78% of the bets, 71% of the money on the Mariners here. This line opened up at minus 145. Hasn't really moved much. Went from minus 145 down to minus 138 at Bet Online and at Bovada. It has stayed at a minus 150 opener there. And totals wise here, before I pass it to you, Bobano, wow, 99% of the bets and money on the over. I kind of figured people would be betting the under in this game, but no, sir. This opened up at an 8. It's basically stayed at an 8. Bovada opened this up at a 7.5, juice to the over, and no movement there. Bobano, any action on this Seattle Mariners Washington Nationals game?
I just don't love George Kirby on the road right now. I like him. I thought coming into the year he was going to be one of the better pitchers in baseball, but 5.19 ERA on the road, 0-3 compared to that 2.97 that's in Seattle. That's hard for me to back him. Hard for me definitely to lay this price. knowing George Kirby has had his issues, on the road. 5 runs against Baltimore, 4 runs, only 5 innings against Minnesota. So his road track record this year hasn't been great. That being said, faced Washington once, and it was a couple of years ago. So there's been some change, obviously, in the lineup a little bit. But 1 run, 7 innings, did pitch well against the Nats in that game. But just haven't loved his road form enough. Meanwhile, you've got Mackenzie Gore, the lefty for the Nationals, 3.3 ERA for him on the season. We'll see how he fares. He's been pretty consistent. I mean, the last 5 starts, he's given up 2 earned runs or less. So let's give him credit. And don't be fooled by the Toronto game. You said he got blasted. Only 2 of those runs were earned. The defense behind him was terrible in that game. I remember it. Just brutal. But he's really deserved a better fate. So he's really given up 2 earned runs or less in 5 straight starts. I have no action here, nothing. But I'm a little perplexed why the love for the over. I am concerned about Kirby's road form. Maybe that's it. And both bullpens aren't great. So maybe you get some late runs here in this game. But I think maybe a first 5 under you could look at possibly here in this game. But nothing for me. I'm passing.
Yeah, pass game for me. Yeah, maybe it is a first 5 under, full game over, but don't want to play God in this situation here as well. Interesting series here. Tampa Bay Rays versus the Kansas City Royals here. Lugo versus Armstrong here. Now, if you just step back and you're like, why Seth Lugo, a 7-1 pitcher that arguably might start the All-Star game for the American League, which is kind of crazy. I'm sure we have to go back to someone like Brett Saberhagen to find out the last Royals pitcher to start an All-Star game. I would love to see that. But it's kind of a fishy line here, only being minus 107. Obviously, they're going to the Trop. We'll see. This is a good test for the Royals. Like, this is a series they should whoop up on the Rays, because I do not think the Rays are a good ball club. And we're starting with Shawn Armstrong on the bump here. So this is going to be an interesting series for me to gauge how good exactly are the Royals here. Now let's talk about Shawn Armstrong first, because he's just going to open up here, go an inning, maybe 2 here. And according to RotoWire, who I just refreshed, we're going to get
Tyler Alexander. Yeah, he's going to be the
Tyler
primary.
Alexander. So that's going to be very interesting to see. And by the way, Tyler Alexander and Shawn Armstrong, you could tell me they're the same person in my head, and I'd believe you. It's just one throws. I think Armstrong's a righty and Alexander's a lefty. It's probably what I would assume. But Alexander's last few starts, let's talk about him. 7 innings, and these are starts. This is going to be his 3rd time coming out as a follower, I guess is what the term is called. But his last few have been starts: 7 1/3, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, no walks on a home run against Toronto. 7 innings, 6 hits, 6 earned runs against the Yankees. 4 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs against the Chicago White Sox. So I'm going to be interested. Obviously, they're starting the righty to get more lefties in the lineup, and then they'll throw the lefties. So it'll be very interesting. By the way, I just looked up his split. 267 average against righties, 196 average against lefties. So we'll see what the confirmed lineups have in store for when they come out. But honestly, again, I expect the Royals to win this game. I expect them to roll, but I've never had any good feelings about the Royals here. And I'm going to be very interested to see where this market has taken us here. 66% of the bets and 97% of the money on the Royals in this game. People love them. Big bets on them. Where this started, this opened up at minus 110 for Kansas City, and it really hasn't moved much. It got down to minus 105 at one point, now minus 109. That is very interesting to say the least here. And then we have another 99% of the money in bets are on the over in this game. And this line has not moved much as well. If anything, it's moved 5 cents to the under here. So very interesting indeed here, Bobana. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, for me, you gotta bet Kansas City, at least for me. At least I do at this price. I mean, with Lugo, with the way he's gone, I mean, he's been absolutely tremendous. He's given up 2 runs or less in 2 runs or less in 4 of his last 5 starts. He's got 1 walk to 22 strikeouts in his last 2 starts. Now I know it's Oakland and the Angels. I get it. That's not exactly the big red machine from the 70s or the Bronx Bombers. I get it. But still, that's impressive. That's downright dominant by Seth Lugo. Seth Lugo I was not sold on how good he would be in the starting role, but San Diego, he pitched well there. Kansas City, he's pitched very well. He's been tremendous, and he looks like he's getting better too here in these last few starts. Like I said, he's been a K machine these last 2. I think he's definitely got the pitching edge over the Armstrong-Alexander duo. Here's Alexander's numbers. Alexander has a 5.06 ERA in his starts, and he has a 5.4 ERA out of the bullpen this year. So regardless of whether he's been starting or whether he's been in this long relief primary pitching role after his opener, he's been bad. He's been hit. He hasn't been very good. So I definitely think it's an advantage for the Royals. And then you factor in the form of the 2 teams. Kansas City's won 6 in a row. They're streaking. Tampa Bay's ice cold. They've lost 4 straight. They lost the final game to the Toronto series. They just got swept, Jose, as you well know, by your Red Sox in the last 3 games. They're ice cold. Kansas City's red hot. Lugo's the better arm here. What am I missing? And maybe, it's a little peculiar they're this cheap. I think it's because they're only 500 on the road. That's probably why they've done more of their winning at home. But I'm going to take Kansas City at this price. First 5 full game split. Minus 110 at Patano, first 5. Minus 108 at Pinnacle, full game.
Yeah, I lean Kansas City Royals. I've written them down. We'll come back to them at the end of the card, see when we make official. But I agree. I think, again, this just, if you're a serious ball club, Kansas City, if you want me to take you seriously here this season, you beat this Tampa Bay Rays team, right, and you win this series. And if you lose this series, I will continue to think you are a fraudulent bunch of people. But we will see. We will see. All right, let's move on to those Boston Red Sox versus the Milwaukee Brewers team. Another team I don't know what to make of. The Brewers have been so weird for me this year, as they are typically every year. And this Red Sox team, it's getting better. They're sucking me in every day to just get more dragged into it. And I'll say this every show I talk about the Red Sox. Dave Bush is the worst pitching coach I have ever seen in my entire life. Just the upgrade from Andrew Bailey has just been ridiculous. And Cutter Crawford has been arguably one of the best pitchers in baseball. Because of the little tweaks and changes he's made. Now, minus 129 is pretty cheap, sure. But Bryce Wilson has quietly been not bad. And I was pretty shocked to see that. And maybe this new regime has just empowered him to go out there and be a starter and be good. Because he's started, I think this will be his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, his 6th consecutive start here, I think. And it'll be very interested to see how it goes for him. His last 2, 4 2/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, a home run, 3 Ks, 1 walk, 4 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 home run again, 1 K, 5 walks against St. Louis, and he still navigated around that. And he dominated Kansas City in a 6-inning, 1-hit shutout performance as well. So like I said, this is a tough matchup for me. I don't know what to make of the Brewers offensively either, because their numbers have been just great. Full season, 119 weighted runs created plus, 4th best. And I'm like, how long is that going to last? What is that going to do? And last few weeks, they're still good. 9th, 115 weighted runs created plus against righties. So I thought maybe this could quietly be an over kind of game again. But let's talk about the market here. 67% of the bets, 66% of the money on the over in this game, which is not as bad as the 99% spots. But unfortunately, this started at an 8.5 and just soared up soared all the way up to a 9.5 here, Bobano. Juice to the over still. So it's kind of tough to take it a run worse with the over here. But I do lean over, and it's going to be very interesting to see. Money line wise here, let's talk about it, and then we'll hear Bobano. Minus 130 opener for the Red Sox here, now down to minus 126 at Bet Online. Minus 132 opener, basically the same at Bovada there. And we have 80% of the money and 71% of the bets on the Boston Red Sox here. So I lean over, but I don't think I will be betting anything here. That line movement just too much. And TJ, it's very interesting. He said he's going to be going on the under after all that movement up. So very nice, TJ. I'll be interested to see how that works for you. But Bobana, what do you think about this game, Red Sox Brewers?
Yeah, it might be warm. Maybe there's a wind blowing out, but I'm not rushing to bet a Cutter Crawford game over the total. I mean, he's been very solid. 2 runs or less, 3 of his last 4 starts. Don't be fooled by 0-3 in his last 3 starts because he's pitched well enough. He hasn't always gotten the run support from the Red Sox. I don't know about Bryce Wilson. I'm not sold yet. I know he's been pretty good. He actually has been really good. 2 runs or less in 5 starts, but he doesn't pitch deep. They manage his innings. Milwaukee bullpen actually did have to pitch quite a bit in the series against Miami. They only got 1 inning out of Ross. Gasser only went 5 1/3. Peralta did give them 7, but at the same point in time, you're talking about a bullpen that did have to get used a little bit. They did have a day off, though, yesterday, which does help. But, Boston's bullpen's been very good. They've got a 3.45 ERA. It's actually slightly better numbers than Milwaukee's. And Crawford's been very solid. No question. So I'm going to take Boston here on the money line in this one. Just the full game, because this is a game where I truly do feel like, I've got a slight bullpen edge for the Red Sox. The numbers dictate that. So Boston minus 128 for me at Pinnacle.
All right, Boston Red Sox, and that's not a first 5 full game split. That's just full game,
just
correct?
Full game for this one. Yep.
All right, cool. Full game for Bobano here, and I will ask you, Bobano, to recap all your various action in MLB because I have to write it all down for Jimmy. So we will get all that done at the end of the program here. Los Angeles Dodgers, Cincinnati Reds here. I don't know why. I guess they do play every year now, but I feel like these teams play so often for whatever reason. Paxton versus Ashcraft here. We've talked about James Paxton, and I'm not surprised at how well he's pitching so far. It's funny. I don't expect, and I have not done too much research on this, but I don't expect Clayton Kershaw to pitch this year. So the Dodgers were like, you know what? If Clayton Kershaw pitches this year, it's going to be at the back half of the year. So let's just grab another lefty that we know is going to start off well, and then we won't need him at the end of the year because Kershaw is going to be here. Let's grab James Paxton, because James Paxton last year with the Red Sox was phenomenal to start the year. And then as he does, he'll wear down, and then he'll start to get worse, and then something will pop up, and then he'll be done for the year or at the end of the year or whatever. And that's what the Dodgers are doing perfectly. He's pitched phenomenal so far, and when I say phenomenal, I mean it's not like it's like shutout every time, but it helps when you have the Dodgers offense behind you, obviously. 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs against these very Cincinnati Reds, which is maybe why I think these teams play so often, because they just did play, but they play on the 17th. This is their last start, so very interesting back-to-back here for them. 6 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs against the Padres and against the Atlanta Braves. 6 2/3, 5 hits, 1 earned run. So 2 great offenses there that he just dispatches pretty, I don't want to call it easily, but does it with aplomb. For our guy Graham Ashcraft, again, he's going against the Dodgers again. He went up against them on the 18th. 5 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 5 Ks, 3 walks. So not a bad start, but I just don't have any faith in either one of these guys really going back-to-back and pitching well. So let's check out the Reds' numbers against lefties, and then we'll look at the market. Maybe we can get on an over here. Reds' numbers against lefties in the last few weeks: 13th, 107 weighted runs created plus, so not horrible. And in full season, We've got the Reds against lefties at, Jesus, where are they? 21st, 88 weighted runs created plus. So not good full season, but they're hitting them well recently. 9.5 opener on this total. It's gone down to minus 115. Actually, I lie. I should refresh this. It's gone up. It's gone up to a 10 in this game. So that's interesting. That must mean a lot of people betting it. 67% of the bets and 73% of the money on the over in this game. I feel like I'm missing out. I feel like I'm missing out by not looking at these earlier, I guess. That's my fault for looking at these other sports, unfortunately. But let's check out the money line market here. Where are you? This opened up at minus 160 and has actually gone down to minus 150, minus 145 at places here as well, with 88% of the bets and 99% of the money on Los Doyers here. Very interesting, Bobana. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I like the over here. I know it's a high total, but I actually got 9.5 juiced. Those are gone. I kind of thought it might go up to this extent. I wasn't expecting, but we'll lock it in at over 10 here, minus 115 at points bet. I know James Paxton enters this start here. 2.84 ERA overall. But you look at it, his xFIP is like 5.8. I mean, my goodness, you talk about a huge gap. You talk about regression waiting to happen. My goodness, it could happen here for James Paxton when it's all said and done. Graham Ashcraft, look, he's got a guy that can pitch well in certain spots against certain opponents, but when he's up against an elite lineup, that's when he struggles. That's when he can get hit. I think you're going to see that. The one thing about Ashcraft, too, is he's not someone that's going to pitch deep into the games. He's gone, 6 innings once this year. The other ones have been 5, 4, 5 as innings pitched in each start, which means you're going to see a lot of Reds bullpen, which is not good. Obviously, the Reds bullpen has not been good at all. Their ERA is like 4.5 on the season. So, like I said, I like over 10 here, minus 115 at points bet. I think you're going to see runs, probably more for the Dodgers, but I think the Reds can get it. Look, the Reds offense has not been performing well consistently this year. No question about that. But I do think here against Paxton, they're at home, they're going to be able to do a little bit of damage. So, I see this being like a 7-4 type of game here in favor of the Dodgers. So over 10 for me.
All right. I will be on the over as well. I'm taking over 10 minus 120 for me. First official baseball action here. Next game on our slate, San Francisco Giants, New York Metropolitans. Kyle Harrison, who we've talked about again many times on this program as potentially one of the best, if not the best, lefties in baseball. Shout out to Max Fried and Tariq Skubal as well. Now, his last 2 starts, both identical, 5 innings, 3 earned runs against Colorado and Cincinnati. 2 teams I think he'd probably say he'd shut out. 5 walks, 5 Ks against Cincinnati, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks against Colorado there. And that was almost a back-to-back against Colorado. He went 7 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs at Colorado, which is honestly more impressive. But he's been solid this year as Kyle Harrison. I don't know what to make of Christian Scott is the bigger, thing about this, I guess. He's been up now. I think this is his 3rd start. Yes. No, this is his 4th start. Excuse me. His 4th start. His first 3 have been okay. He got touched up against Miami, which is pathetic. But he pitched well against the Braves, 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs there. Pitched well against Tampa, but is it a case of more tape coming out on Scott and your people are trying to figure out how to hit him? That's my concern here. I didn't want really anything to do with this game. If I'm betting this game, it is the Giants here, and I think it's kind of crazy that they're plus 130 almost. I think that's value in that. But let's talk about the markets here. 77% of the bets and 45% of the money on the Mets. So it's kind of identical to the Blue Jay spot from earlier market-wise in that aspect. And this line is just soared up. Minus 125 for Scott, now minus 136 that's crazy to me. I don't know. I think Giants, I guess, but I'm staying off. But Ben, what do you think?
I like the other side. I like the Mets. I like Christian Scott here a little bit. This young kid for the Mets. I think he's going to be pretty good. I think he's been a little bit unlucky here so far in his career. I think there's definitely a higher ceiling for him. I know that last start against the Mets was a little, the Marlins rather, wasn't the greatest, but I think definitely, I think he's got potential here as far as being a pretty solid pitcher. I wish the price was a little bit better than it is, but when you look at Kyle Harrison here for the Giants, he's been solid, he's been all right, but you look at some of the peripherals. The peripherals are better for Scott, and they're worse for Harrison. So when I look at it, I think it's a situation where I think there's just better long-term upside here for Christian Scott at this point in time. The Mets are coming off, obviously, a sweep at the hands of the Guardians, so I know they're not playing great. The Giants are playing well, and that is probably the one thing that's going to hold me off, and the price being where it is with the Mets, you got to lay actually minus 130 to minus 140 on them. But I'm not as bullish on the Giants and Harrison as some people are. So pass for me. I lean Mets, but I don't love the price enough.
Yeah, pass for me here as well. I'll be watching this game and seeing how this game rolls out. Probably another pass for both of us here, Bobano, I'm assuming, in Baltimore, Chicago. Now, I mean, this should be a get-right series for the Orioles, but, how to bet it? Corbin Burnes versus Chris Flexen, minus 260 for the Orioles here. Here's the thing. I talk about how I just laugh at there's not minus 300s. Like, how are these lines not minus 300s against the White Sox here? And it's just so funny to me. And when numbers get up to minus 300, that's when they start to lose for whatever reason. Quickly, the market in this game, nothing will really surprise you. 92% of the bets, 92% of the money on the Orioles here. Opened up at minus 230, up to minus 260. I'll say I know it's not a cash cow, but it is cash cow adjacent. The only reason why it's not a cash cow is because it's on the road, I believe. Total 99% of the bets and money on the over, and it seems as if, this total went down actually. So opened up at 8 even, minus 110 each way, now down to 7.5. So I will write down the under. I'll be interested in it. Bobano, anything for you?
Yeah, as far as Flexen goes, someone that's obviously he's been everywhere. He's been to different major league teams. He's been overseas, obviously pitching for a year. Now he's been with the White Sox, and he got absolutely destroyed in his last start. 7 runs, 8 hits, 4 innings in that game. Worth noting that the last 2 starts have not been particularly good for Flexen, the Washington and the Yankees start. And the opponent scored 6 and 7 in those games. So the Nats scored 6 in the start Flexen made against them, and the Yankees scored 7 in the start that that he made against the Yankees. They scored 7. So this Baltimore lineup, what did they do? They put 8 on the board last night in the first game of this series against Clevenger and the White Sox. We know for the White Sox, as far as their bullpen is concerned, it's actually not bad, believe it or not. 3.88 ERA. It's been better certainly than it was early in the season. But I still think Baltimore's capable, of doing some damage here in this game. I'm going to go back to the well with what I cashed with yesterday in this series. Just the Orioles team total over 4.5. So hopefully we get something like 6 to or 5 to 2, 5 to 1, something like that. So for you or anyone else that likes the under in this game, I definitely don't think the White Sox are going to score runs in bunches here. We're talking about 30th in Major League Baseball in runs per game. The White Sox, I know they had 6 last night, but that is a rare occurrence when they get that kind of run production, especially when you look at a guy like Corbin Burnes. All he's done in his last 2 starts against Seattle and Toronto is give up 2 runs in the last 12 innings and 13 strikeouts. So I don't see the White Sox doing a ton of damage here against Corbin Burnes tonight. So back to the well with what won for me yesterday. Baltimore team total over 4.5 minus 125.
All right. I like the unders. I will have them written down. First 5 full game here that I might move on. But I like the unders here, and we'll be interested to see how this game operates. A lot of Baltimore love in the chat here. Leonard, Jimmy is hanging out with his mom today. He's hanging out with his mom, so took the day off today and Tuesday, so he won't be here either of those days. Hanging out with his mom, family time for Jimmy. Rangers Twins next game up. And by the way, Leonard, I'm pretty sure you're still doing, obviously, still betting like Garcia method and all that stuff while he's away. So don't you worry about that.
Yep.
Rangers Twins here. Jose Urania on the bump here. I love seeing Jose Urania on the bump because it just makes me laugh so much that Jose Urania is better and the Rangers would rather have him on the bump than Jack Leiter. Bailey Ober, I really like. You could tell me there's value on the Rangers here at plus 140. I believe you. The issue is that these are not the Rangers from last year. The offense is not the same. And the bullpen that I shit all over all last year is finally showing itself to be as shitty as it was, or I thought it was last year. And now I can finally say the Rangers stink, but I just don't believe in this Twins team enough to back them here. I like Ober. I like their bullpen. It's just the same thing with the Seattle Mariners. It'll always be the offense that holds me back with the Twins and gets me off balance. So let's talk about the market here, and we'll pass it to Bobano. 87% of the bets, 96% of the money on the Twins. No one want to bet other sides here. Everyone just wants to bet the same sides here today, apparently, according to action. Opened up at minus 145, now up to minus 158 here. Just climbing up on them, so I can understand that. Opening up at minus 153, up to minus 163 at Bovada there. Totals wise, where are you? There you are. 96% of the bets, 97% of the money on the over. Everyone, again, as we've talked about yesterday, just over. Everyone betting overs. 8.5 total opened up there, and now a 9. Juice to the under, but it is a 9 now, and you can smell the over cooking in this game. Bobana, what do you think?
Yeah, I like over 8.5 minus 120. I'm not buying what Jose Urania is selling. I know it's been a nice little run for him, but two runs, 1 run. Let's be real though. Oakland, Colorado, and the Angels. Come on, those aren't three of the better lineups in baseball. He faced Minnesota last year. He got destroyed with the White Sox. 6 runs, 7 hits, 6.1 innings. I got to see more of it before I'm buying into anything regarding a turnaround of Jose Urania. And Bailey Ober is going to be Bailey over tonight because he did not pitch well in his last start. 5 runs, 8 hits, 4 innings against Cleveland. Some of his peripherals aren't pretty. He got roughed up by Texas last year, gave up 5 runs in 4 innings. So getting a total less than 9, I think, is value here. So Rangers Twins over 8.5.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think this is an over spot. I don't know if I'll move on it. I have it written down here as well. I'm sure people that have watched the show have seen like the first, and then this just makes baseball sense. The first few weeks of the season, it was just unders palooza. It was betting unders. We're feeling great about ourselves. And then I kept betting the unders, and we've seen this last month that I've gotten fucking killed betting these unders. So as you might be able to notice, I'm trying to incorporate an over or two on my cards as well. And this might be one of them here. Chicago Cubs, St. Louis Cardinals, good rivalry. And this is going to be Shota's first. I think it's Shota's first touch in this rivalry. I don't think he's faced the Cardinals yet. But I mean, here's the thing. We've seen some incredible, like genuinely like record breaking starts this year from Ranger Suarez and Shota here, and Mason Miller, but as a reliever. All 3 of those guys have just been phenomenal. And for me, it's one of those things like I can't really jump in. If you've been betting Shota the whole time, then congratulations, keep betting them. But I haven't really bet him all that much or backed him all that much this year. I knew he was going to be good, but they didn't back him. I don't know why. I guess it's the Cubs offense, but he's just phenomenal. 7 shutout innings against the Pirates, 5 shutout innings against Atlanta. And he got touched up for maybe his worst start of the season. 7 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs against the Padres. Still incredible. So it's tough for me to try to fade him here against the Cardinals team that once upon a time, like 4 years ago at this point now, could hit lefties with the best of them. Now, in the last few weeks, they're 92 weighted runs created plus and 172 plate appearances. Not good. And full season, they're fourth worst, 77 weighted runs created plus and 500 plate appearances for against lefties in the full season. So just not good. And I don't want to be the guy that says that Shota's not going to roll here. Miles Michaelis also sucks. So if you could tell me that you could take a -1 here for the Cubs, I wouldn't hate it at all. I don't take run lines anymore. So I'm not going to bet this game, but I'll be interested to see what this game, how this game goes. I lean under, and let's check out the total market real quick before I pass it to you, Bill Bano. Wow. 99% of the bets and money on the over this game again. And we have an 8, and it's just gone down to an under. I think I might move on an under here, Bill Bano. What do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that. I think it could be low scoring. I definitely don't see the Cardinals hitting Imanaga. So I'm actually debating something I don't do very often. Do I take because I lean Cubs? I do. Because I want to back Imanaga somehow in this game. I believe in the guy. He's been great. He's on back-to-back shutout performances against the Braves and the Cubs and the Pirates, rather. He's absolutely tremendous. I'm not a fan of Michaelis at all. Quite honestly, I know he was good against Boston in his last start, but I don't trust him. I think he's an aging kind of retread pitcher at this stage of his career. So I definitely favor Imanaga. St. Louis doesn't hit a lick against lefties. Remember how good they used to be against lefties, and now they can't hit worth a shit, against left-handed pitching. So it's pretty crazy that just the turnaround and the change we've seen in that. So, but again, it's not a bargain on the Cubs. That's my one fear here is, they're laying a pretty hefty price. If you look at bullpen numbers, the bullpens have been pretty comparable. I think what I'm going to do here is first 5 run line on the Cubs, -0.5, -120 at DraftKings. I think that makes some sense. I think they can grab a lead after the first 5 because, look, Imanaga's been lights out. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Michaelis at this stage of his career. So that first 5 -0.5, I think I prefer that than the full game money line. Actually, you know what I might do? I might do the old, to get the juice down, I'll do the old first 5 full game run line split with this one because I'll be able to get a -1 with the Chicago Cubs at pretty reasonable price. Let me just see. Pinnacle's got the -1 on the Cubs at -118. So that's pretty good. I can handle that. So that's what we'll rock with. Cubs -0.5, -120 first 5. Cubs -118 for the full game. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead as well with St. Louis Cardinals team total under 3.5 -125. I think that might even be the best look of all if you're worried about how much the Cubs hit. I think they can do enough against Michaelis to give run support to Imanaga, but in case you're worried about it, you can go that route as well with the Cardinals team total under 3.5 -125. So I'll put that on the ticket as well.
Yeah, I've thought about taking some team total unders recently. I find it so hard to because that is a true 27-ounce bet.
Yeah.
Like you cannot feel comfortable at all.
Right.
As well.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
man.
true. Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. But I like the unders in this game. I'm gonna lean that way. We'll come back at the end of the show, obviously.
I just find it very difficult. Like you hope he gets 6 or 7 out of Imanaga and he cruises through because he's on fire. He's had back-to-back shutouts. His team can't hit lefties at all right now, St. Louis. So it really does set up well for him tonight. And set up well as well that we don't have to see, hopefully, much of the Cubs bullpen.
Yeah, agreed there. I was thinking about first 5 under specifically to avoid that bullpen. So we'll talk about that here soon. Swiss, we'll try to come up with a parlay for you. Just ask us at the end of the program. Let's keep rolling. Phillies, Rockies, perhaps the quickest breakdown of the show. No action for me. I want nothing to do with this game. I have been on the Phillies bandwagon the whole year. I think they win the World Series, et cetera, et cetera. I think they're very good. I have no reason to fade them here. If anything, I'd be betting a total in this game. But let's talk about that market and the total before I pass it to you at least. 65% of the bets, 74% of the money on the over. This has seemingly opened up at I'm on first 5. Give me a second. Full game. This opened up at an 11 and it's still 11. It was an 11 juice to the under at least. and now it's evening out to be minus 110 each way. Yeah, I mean, if anything, I guess I lean over because I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Phillies got 11 runs on their own. I think the Phillies are that dominant and can't hit that well, but ultimately I don't want anything to do with it, so no action from me. Bobano, any thoughts on this game for you?
I like the over here. I know it's a high total, but I'm okay and comfortable looking in that direction. I think we'll see some runs here at Coors Field in this game. I'll lock it in at over 10.5, minus 125 at Bet99. Betway also has over 10.5, minus 125 as well. For those of you that are looking for that, you can find it at those. I know there's 11. Out there at some other books, but yeah, shop around. You'll be able to get some 10.5s out there with this total. Ty Block, say no more. I mean, as soon as I see that guy's name, pitches like a blockhead half the time, Ty Block. So I think when you look at it, he's not someone I trust, and you're going up against one of the most potent lineups in all of baseball with what the Phillies have been able to do this year. The weather looks like there's going to be winds blowing out, heavy winds blowing out tonight as well at Coors Field. Phillies have been an over machine. They've been scoring runs in bunches. And don't look now, but guess who's been cashing a lot of overs lately for me with the Rockies? Me. I mean, their bats, let's give their bats credit. The last week to week and a half, their bats have heated up big time. The Colorado Rockies, they're scoring, 4 runs in a majority of their games lately. They've gone 10-4 to the over in their last 14 games. Like I said, Block, who's been awful, 7.62 ERA, 11 earned runs in 9.2 innings. That's terrible. And look, Christopher Sanchez, I like the kid, but he's got a little home road split thing going on. 5.5 ERA on the road this year for Sanchez. And now you're pitching at Coors Field, which is not an easy place, for anybody, especially a younger pitcher. So, like I said, he's been lights out at Citizens Bank in Philadelphia, but he has struggled on the road, and this is one of the tougher road environments you could ever pitch in, especially with the winds blowing out like they are tonight at Coors Field. So high total, but high for a reason. I like over 10.5.
All right. Bobano, I might join you. I might join you on this over here. We'll come back to it again, but I might join you on this. Very interesting. A lot of totals on my card shaping up, guys. It's going to be very interesting. Again, stick around for the end. And by the way, I did forget to give out the WNBA pod, though I did tweet it, and we will talk about it at the end of the program. Guardians, Angels, Logan Allen versus Patrick Sandoval, who, Bobano, I don't know about you, but I feel like Patrick Sandoval pitches every fucking other day for the Angels. He is always on the bump for the Angels. It is shocking to me how often he pitches. And I will say is probably my favorite thing about Patrick Sandoval. He fucking posts. When you need him there, he's there. Now, the results may vary. It definitely may vary from start to start. And it is very tough to gauge and it's very tough to bet. His last start, we bet him. He was great. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run on a 1 home run against the Texas Rangers. Shout out to him. He's kind of on a mini heater. 6 innings, 11 hits, 4 earned runs against the Royals. Not awful. 7 shutout innings against Pittsburgh. 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs against Philadelphia. He's in a little bit of a groove right now, so these could be the moments where you back him here. Against Logan Allen, who, it's very funny, there's multiple Logan Allens who are pitchers, but this is an actually good one who also in his own right is coming off back-to-back shutout performances against the White Sox. Who cares? Against the Twins, a lot of people will care. So it's kind of tough to see here where we're going to move to start. 2 good pitchers right now. Market in this game, 50-50 ticket splits, but 66% of the money on the Guardians here. So sharper action, bigger bets on the Guardians here. This money line opened up at minus 110 for the Guardians. It's actually dropped down and it's basically gone down to even. And at even Bovada, this opened up at minus 113 Cleveland on Bovada. Is now minus 112 Los Angeles there. So very interesting. And total wise here, 99% of the bets and money on the over in this game. And this number has plummeted like a rock. 8.5 opener, juice to the under, minus 125. So again, you could tell me it's an 8. but it's all the way down to 7.5 here. Bobano, this right here smells like an under. Opened up at 8 minus 115 to the over on Bovada. Now 8.5, or sorry, now 7.5. And first 5 here, because I'm more interested in first 5, honestly. First 5 opened up at a juiced 4 minus 125. Now is a minus 110 each way. That looks like it'll join my card, Bobana. What do you think about this game?
I think when you look at it, gosh, it's hard not to take Cleveland. I mean, their road record's good. Their overall record's good. The Angels are just a ridiculously horrendous 6-16 at home. Sandoval is one of those pitchers where he's got like the inverse home road dichotomy going. He's been better on the road. He's been pretty bad at home. 4.98 ERA at home. And you can say the same thing about Logan Allen, where he's also been better on the road than he's been at home. Logan Allen's been atrocious in Cleveland. It's hard to explain why that is, but he's got a 7.33 ERA at home. But on the road, he's got a 2.89 ERA, Logan Allen. So he's pitched great outside of Cleveland this year. Huge bullpen advantage, too. Huge bullpen advantage. Cleveland, 2.52 ERA with their bullpen. And, of course, the Angels, some things never change. This team has had a fucking horrific bullpen since the day I was born, it feels like. The Angels, my goodness. 5 ERA almost, their bullpen. So we're talking about an over 2-run difference in ERA as far as Cleveland's bullpen being better than the Angels. So I am telling you, if you have any interest whatsoever in the Angels, please only take them first 5, because you don't want that major bullpen advantage for Cleveland. I do, and I am on Cleveland here. Full game only, though, of course. I want that bullpen advantage working for me. So just full game here with Cleveland, minus 102 at Pinnacle.
Okay, cool. All right. I like that look. Steve G, by the way, let us know. He obviously is a Colorado guy, and he's been fading the Rockies this year to the tune of a 31-11-2 record, up 25 units. Steve, what do you do on days like today when the money line is super juiced? Do you take the minus 1.5, or you just eat the juice and just keep rolling money line? Let me know. And Tori, don't worry. We have 2 horses for you today. I thought we said that very clearly, and I thought you heard that already. But don't worry. We have 2 horses for you today to make up for me leaving you out yesterday. So don't worry as well. All right. Astros, Oakland. My precious Oakland A's. They have officially fallen apart. Ross Stripling's 1-8 looks uglier and uglier by the day against Justin Verlander, who I will stand up on this table and I will continue to say, I think Father Time is coming for Justin Verlander, and I think he's going to struggle at several points in this season, be very fadeable. Now, the question is, do we fade him here today against the Oakland A's? And obviously, if we were going to do this, it'd probably be a team total, because trusting Ross Stripling to hold down the Astros is definitely a leap of faith. Let's talk about his last few starts for Verlander. It was a little annoying. We faded him against Detroit, and he shoved it up their ass, and I was discouraged. I was like, maybe I was wrong. And then against Milwaukee, who I know is one of the better teams hitting this year in baseball, somehow 4 2/3, 4 hits, 4 runs, a home run, 3 Ks, 2 walks for Verlander. I just think we'll see a lot of that this year. I really do. And again, I want to fade him here, but I mean, do I want to trust Ross Stripling, who his 1-8 record, might not tell the story of how good or bad he's been, but it's still 1-8, and he's still not good. So I definitely looked at an Oakland team total here. Let me refresh my site to make sure that I have an updated odds, because I would love a 3.5 here. But let's scroll down real quick. I'm getting Oakland 3.5 at even money, which is very interesting to me, admittedly. Money line markets in this game, let's talk about it. 88% of the bets, 97% of the money on the Astros here, unsurprisingly, opened up at minus 170, down to minus 166 at BetOnline, and Bovada opened this at minus 174, only up 4 cents to minus 178. And the total here, 83% of the bets, 85% of the money on the over in this game. And it opened up at a 7.5. It is now an 8.5 at some places. Sheesh. Yeah, I think I'm going to move on an Oakland team total here, Bobana. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm on full game over with this one. Shop around. There are still some 8s. You can find them. I'm going to go with over 8 minus 120 at Bet365. So over 8 minus 120. Look, Oakland's an underrated offensive team. They're not this, people thought they were going to be bad again this year, and they've been surprisingly competitive. I know 21-31, they've faded a little bit here of late, but it's not, in large part, it's not been because of their offense. They've been able to score runs. They've scored 4, 5, and 10 in 3 of their last 4 games. The problem is their pitching, the starting pitching, and their bullpen. And unfortunately, Ross Stripling's been part of the problem. He just hasn't been very good. He's not been efficient. He's not been eating innings. He's given up 18 runs in his last 3 starts, which is not good. Meanwhile, you got Verlander for Houston, and look, Verlander's 40 now. He's not going to be able to just go out there and mow down opposing lineups, every single time. He's given up 11 runs in his last 3 starts combined. He did have a shutout in there, but, I definitely think Oakland could be able to get at least a few across the board against against Verlander in this game. So I think there's definitely a total here that's pretty low. And Oakland, keep in mind the run they've been on here with overs. 3 of their last 4 have gone over the total. Houston's lineup for the better part of the last half of May has really picked things up. They've scored 8, 5, 2, 9, 7, 6. They did get shut down by Anderson in the last game against the Angels. But really, aside from that, the Astros have been starting to show some thump with the bats here in recent weeks. So over 8 for me, minus 120.
Like that look. 3.5 team total even money for me on Oakland official. And by the way, Rocco giving us a Ray Kerr is starting for the Atlanta Braves today. Has not pitched past 3 innings in the minors. So we'll probably get a bullpen day, but very interesting. So bullpen day for the Braves.
Yep.
Going to be very interesting. All right, let's go to our last 2 games here. This one not as interesting as our last one. Marlins, Diamondbacks, Gallen revenge, Chisholm revenge, whatever you want to call it. These teams have played quite frequently now, so the revenge factor is not as much there. But I thought this was quite an easy pass for me. I didn't want to try to back Braxton Garrett against the team that allegedly hits lefties the best in baseball with the Arizona Diamondbacks. And Garrett's first 2 starts have been shit. 6 earned runs, 5 earned runs against the Phillies and Mets here. And again, this is the second best, I guess, now. They're down to 129 weighted runs created plus against lefties on this season, behind the Orioles. And so for the last few weeks, they're down. We'll say that. The last few weeks, they're down against lefties. Only 78 weighted runs created plus in the last few weeks, 22 in the league there. So, maybe Braxton Garrett to get to him today, but I didn't want to pay to find out. Total in this game, 99% of the bets, 97% of the money on the over. No one's surprised by that. And this total has flipped and is going down to the under. We'll see 7.5 seemingly soon. So I am semi-interested in the under. I won't move on it, though. Money line in this real quick, 87% of the bets, 96% of the money on the Diamondbacks here. And it's actually gone down a little bit. So, maybe the Marlins are live here, but I'm not paying to find out. Bobana, what do you think?
Yeah, that was a great series for the Diamondbacks against the Dodgers, winning 2 of 3. They just have the Dodgers number. I'd be worried if I have to face them again in the postseason. If I'm the Dodgers. Now I know Arizona's 24-26, so they got to get there first. But nevertheless, I think Arizona's got some better baseball ahead of them. They kind of look like I'm seeing some buy signals. I agree with some of the people in the chat. Braxton Garrett hasn't been very good. He's given up 11 runs in his last 2 starts against the Phils and the Mets. That's not very good. Faced Arizona last year in this ballpark, Chase Field, 4 runs, 7 hits, 5.1 innings. They lost 5-2 in that game. It's not definitely what you wanted to see. So we'll see how he fares here in this one. But we know Zach Gallen. It's the same old Zach Gallen. He's basically been awesome at home again. What else is new? 1.52 ERA for him here at Chase Field this season. Continues to just be great in this ballpark. Pitched well against Detroit here. You go back to before that, his home starts have been pretty good as well. So I like Arizona first 5. I do get concerned, though, about the Arizona pen hasn't been spectacular this year. And if you look at it's been better in their last 10 games, but don't look now. Miami's bullpen in the last 10 games has a 3.1 ERA. So they've been very good all of a sudden. The Marlins bullpen has pitched better. So I want to take the bullpens out of the equation. I think there's a definite advantage for Gallen early over Garrett, and I'm going to roll with that. So for me, just the first 5 in this one, -0.5, -110 at DraftKings, Arizona.
Okay. I'm staying off. I think this might be a lower scoring game, which should be a little surprising. Who was it? I just saw Joe Yurkovich asking if Arizona hits lefties. One more time, Joe. Full season, they're second best. But from the 8th until today, they're 22nd against lefties. So full season, they're doing well.
There's been a drop.
Yeah.
But Garrett's in bad form.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Why I'm
Garrett sucks.
Maybe they could get some production going again against this particular lefty. Yep.
Agreed there. Garrett's not good. They struggled right now, but their bigger sample size says they will come back and hit him again. Last game on our slate, Friday night baseball, San Diego Padres, Los Angeles, New York Yankees here. Yu Darvish, Carlos Rodon, a good pitching matchup too. I'd be interested, obviously, shout out to Dabby Cab, who's in our chat. Let us know, obviously, if you're backing your guy, Yu Darvish here, who has been just great in the last few starts. I forget how long his scoreless streak is now, but he's gone 7 shutout against Atlanta, 7 shutout against Detroit, 5 shutout against Chicago, 5 shutout against Cincinnati. Just rolling. And those last 2 starts, especially against arguably the 2 best offenses in baseball, is just great. Now, again, going against the Yankees team, that is hot. Aaron Judge is feeling himself, all that stuff. And Carlos Rodon, a guy who is not on my rotation of pitchers that I've liked backing this year, but I do have to credit myself for saying he's going to bounce back and pitch well. And he's pitched pretty good this year. Not like amazing. A 3.27 ERA, solid, but a 4.46 FIP, not the best. 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs against Chicago White Sox. 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run against Minnesota. It doesn't look pretty, but he goes out there and gets the job done. So this is a tough game, pitching matchup-wise, obviously. 73 and 77% of the bets on the Yankees. And this line was even, -105 each way, and has now gone up, -107 Yankees now. Bovada opened this up at -113 Yankees, now -115. So slight movement on them. And again, like many spots here today, 99 and 98% of the bets and money on the over in this game. It wasn't juiced under 7.5, and it looks like it's going to be -110 very soon each way for the total. I probably stay off. I think this might be the end of Yu Darvish's scoreless streak, but I don't want to bet against something like that. So no action for me here on this primetime good game here.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. It's a solid game. And obviously, Rodon has had a bit of a resurgence this year. He had one awful start against Baltimore early in May, and other than that, he's been really good. 2 runs, 6.1 innings against Houston, 1 run, 6 hits, 6 innings against Minnesota, 2 runs, 4 hits, 6 innings against the White Sox. So pitched well, 3-0 in his last 3 starts of the Yankees. So they've been winning with him on the mound. Darvish, meanwhile, has been unhittable. It's ridiculous. I mean, pretty much 4 straight starts without giving up a run, going back to Cincinnati on April 30th, Cubs on May 6th, Dodgers May 12th. Atlanta. I mean, that's what's impressive about Darvish. Like the Dodgers and the Braves, 2 of the starts that he's made the last 2, and he still continued that shutout scoreless streak. So very, very impressive. See if that continues. The one concern is he did face the Yanks last year, albeit it was at Yankee Stadium, not in San Diego, and he got walloped. Gave up 7 runs in 2.2 innings against the Yankees. So we'll see here in this one. But, I definitely lean San Diego with the way Padres, with the way Darvish has been going, and the Padres have actually started to put some things together. They took 3 of 4 in Atlanta. They took 2 of 3 in Cincinnati. The only thing I don't like, 7-game road trip and you're back home with no day off. I really don't like that. And you've been out east, right? Atlanta, Cincinnati, Eastern time zone, and now you're back west with no day off. I think that concerns me enough, and that's typically a spot I don't like betting on a team, regardless of who's on the mound and who the opponent is. So it's a lean to San Diego, but I'm going to lay off.
Yeah, I am off as well. And now, Bubano, we come to the most important part of the show, figuring out what the fuck am I about to bet here today. So I will go first here. And because I need to write down all your bets, obviously, for old James the Bag. So I'll start off here. I'm on officially the Dodgers Reds over 10 minus 120 and the A's team total over 3.5 at even money. I will be moving on the Orioles White Sox first 5 under 4. I'm going to avoid some bullpens there. The Orioles bullpen is a fucking nightmare. So no thank you there. I will be on Minnesota, Texas over 9. I will be on Philadelphia, Colorado over 11 as well, joining you, Bobano, on that one. I will also... Man, this is going to be these two are going to be kind of scary here. 2 other first 5 unders here, trying to avoid some bullpens. First 5 under in Chicago, St. Louis, Miles Michaelis. Just come on through for me one fucking time, Miles. I need to look up. I'm gonna double check Miles Michaelis numbers against lefties, or not lefties, excuse me, against the Cubs right now. Actually, as I do this, because I'd like to, feel a little better about my bet as I put it in, Bobana. You'd like to feel good about your action as you put it in. So, Michaelis went against the Cubs 3 times last year. Let's call it only 2 times, because once he only went 0.2 innings, and we'll just throw that away. I guess he got injured or whatever. So those 2 times last year, 5 innings, 11 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 1/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run. Okay, well, that didn't really help me at all. So I will still be on that first 5 under, and the Cleveland Guardians, Los Angeles Angels, first 5 under 4 as well. I will get some juice here in a moment. Bobana, what are you on here today?
All right, we will begin with Toronto first 5 and full game. We've got them. We have Toronto first 5 minus 118, full game minus 122. Against Detroit. So there we go. First 5 minus 118, full game minus 122. We have Kansas City, same thing, first 5 and full game split with the Royals. Kansas City first 5 minus 114, and Kansas City full game minus 108. So there you go. First 5 minus 114, full game minus 108. We have the Boston Red Sox full game only. That is going to be minus 126 at Pinnacle with the Boston full game. We have LA Dodgers Cincinnati over 10, minus 115. Baltimore Orioles team total over 4.5, minus 125. We have Texas Minnesota over 8.5, minus 120. So far, so good. It was 8.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Chicago Cubs minus 0.5, minus 120. First 5 innings, along with Chicago Cubs full game, minus 1, minus 118. And then St. Louis Cardinals team total under 3.5, minus 125. Philadelphia.
Big game for you there.
It is. It is. Philadelphia, Colorado over 10.5, minus 125. Cleveland Guardians full game, minus 102. Houston, Oakland over 8, minus 120. Arizona -0.5, -110, first 5. And that's only first 5 for me with that game. And I am actually, and Coin, you're I don't want to say you're fully right that the Yanks aren't in the exact same spot as the Padres. The Yanks had 7 in a row at home with no travel. San Diego had to play a few in Atlanta, travel to Cincinnati, then travel back. So it's still a little worse for San Diego as far as the travel spot and the situationals. I get it. Yankees are making the long trip too from New York to San Diego, but they were at home for 7 straight. San Diego wasn't. So there is still a little bit of a difference. But I'm going to add Yankees team total under plus 100 in that Padres-Yankees game. So Yankees team total under 3.5 plus 100. That's and that's it.
Beautiful. And Bobano, while we have you here, could you go over your NHL action one more time for us? I've got your NBA action here already, I believe. But could you go over NHL? I know you only have one bet today. And did you have anything tomorrow?
Yeah, we got the Panthers plus 2.5, Rangers plus 2.5, under 6.5. Same game parlay -120 for Panthers Rangers tonight. We have Dallas -135 money line tomorrow, along with Dallas team total over 3.5 plus 130 for tomorrow.
Plus 130. All right, beautiful. And your NBA plays, you had Minnesota first quarter, first half, -2, -3.5, both at -110. Cat over 20.5 points, -115. And the Indiana Pacers there at 7.5, -115 as well.
That's it. You're right. Exactly. We've got that Minnesota first half full game, and we've got Indiana plus 7.5. Yep.
Beautiful. All right, Bobano, all written down there. My papa will be pleased with me. So, Bobano, I thank you very much for your service here today. Any final words for the cappers in the chat?
No, just lots of fun. Great job, Jose. Pinch hitting here, if you will, to steal a baseball term for Jimmy, who's spending time with Mama Bag. Great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. And yeah, just here every Friday. That's my summer. It's just this show every Friday. And looking forward to it. We'll be talking, I'm sure, CFL with Jimmy on the show in 2 weeks, every Friday moving forward throughout the summer.
Yeah, I had to get you warmed up.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'll be on next week. We'll do NHL and NBA. You'll be, of course, back in the saddle doing the MLB portion next Friday. And then, like I said, in 2 weeks, if there's still NHL and NBA, I'm sure Jimmy and I will cover that. And then, of course, we'll add CFL into the rotation. So looking forward to Canadian football. Again, that season starts in just 2 weeks.
Can't wait. Bobano, thank you so much for joining us here. Follow Bobano at Bobano Bets. At Bobano Bets. Follow him there. All right, guys. Now the moment you guys have been waiting for. Jose's WNBA play of the day. Now, shout out to Billy Brisbane yesterday, who gave us the Indiana Fever. And I said yesterday, I'll probably make that the play of the day. And then I did some research. And then I looked into it. And then I saw the thing that put me officially on the Los Angeles Sparks here tonight, ladies and germs. All right, let's talk about it real quick. I'll make this quick. We have about 50-50 tickets split on the spread, but I looked at the money line. 62% of the bets, 71% of the money on the Indiana Fever. Everyone thinking tonight's the night that Caitlin Clark wins her first WNBA game, but I say nay, nay. I say nay. I say nay, nay, nay. The Sparks were opened up at plus 2.5, now plus 1.5. I will take that. I took the Los Angeles Sparks plus 1, minus 105 for the WNBA play of the day. 3-1 now, up 1.9 units on the year. Let's go, Cam Brinkley and the Sparks. All right. Now, the real moment everyone's been waiting for. The horse races here. Now, shout out to all of our lovely horse race members here. I did forget our guy, Tori Coker, yesterday, and I apologize for that, Tori. For doing that, I have added you a second horse. So, Tori, you will be in 2 heats today. We are running back our heats from yesterday. Why? Because it makes it easier on me, and I needed it here. So we're running back the heats from yesterday. Top 3 join the final round. And shout out to Ron Crawford, spreadsheet dog on the San Francisco Giants today. I like that look. And Rem, I'm sorry. I know camera's so close. I'm sorry. You have to see my pores. I apologize. But we will be running 4 heats today. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Tori, you're going to be in 2 of them. You're going to be in the even number races, Tori. So we will see you in heat 2 and 4. To start off this lovely race, and we're going to do 30 seconds. I want sprints. I want action here. I want constant mayhem here because every second counts in a 30-second horse race. So we will shout out our members here. Fanatical Jim, Matty Ice, Kent, Smoke, K Wolf, Sammy, all you guys. We appreciate you guys. Fat Wally, Heat 1, ready to go here. And Kelly, thank God I made my head smaller then because my head's already fucking gigantic as it is. But let's get racing here. 30 seconds on the clock. 4 heats. Top 3 advance to a $50 horse race. Let's go racing. 30 seconds here. What a beautiful day in San Antonio racetrack here. Philly Eagle Flyer heads out in the lead. Kent Davies, Matty Ice all battling for this spot. 15 seconds left on the clock. This is, like I said, every second counts here. These sprints are electric. 10 seconds. Who's coming through here? Philly Eagle Flyers had the lead the entire time, but this 5 seconds matter. K Wolf right there. TJ Parks pushing it. Looks like TJ Parks. Who's going to take the top 3? TJ Parks, Browns, Hughes, and picks from Dave, a.k.a. the king of burners, apparently. TJ Parks, picks from Dave, and Browns, Hughes. Shout out to old picks from Dave. Need to jump on his program because I told him that I would, and I keep getting busy. I need to jump on his program as well. All right. Heat number 2 here, and I will do all this so you guys can see it all. You guys can see the behind the scenes of us all. Heat number 2, 20 names on this heat. Nasty Nate, Joey Harb, Director, Julian, Jimmy the Bag, Tori Coker in this one as well. Let's go here. Let's go. And unfortunately, Rem, Helga is not here. I would love for Helga to call one of these horse races, though. That is a fantastic, fantastic idea, Rem. Thank you for that. All right. We're ready on the clock. And I'm rooting for you, Nasty Nate. 30 seconds starts now. Here we go. Nunya poking his nose in the league. Nufflush Allen, Fernando Mendoza, all starting out. 20 seconds left. Again, guys, this is a race that is all about late pace. Can you come through at the end? 10 seconds left. Who's the next 3 going into our final spot? Who's taking it home? J-Dub in the lead right now. Joey Harb with a climb into first place. Climb. Oh, my goodness. Joey Harb climbs in there. We've got Joey Harb, Truth Teller, and J-Dub in the mix here. And I did not see Nasty Nate that entire race. That was not the best run from the old Nasty Nate. Where is Nasty Nate? Oh, 17th. And Skunt Blaster was 19th. Oh, no, Skunt Blaster. So you hate that. You hate that. All right. 3rd heat here. 3rd heat. And I apologize for not looking at the chat through all this. We'll look right now. 18 horses. And by the way, yes, Nate's horses now sleeping with the fishes. Sleeping with the fishes here. That was a sad one there, Nate. I will admit that was a sad one. 30 seconds on the clock for Preston Saturated, Dabby in the mix here, myself, Rod Z, Johnny Guns, coin, all in the mix here. Who is going to advance to the final? 3 more spots in the mix. Jose Bouquett pokes his nose out in the lead. This does not bode well. I want late pace from my horse. Coin up here as well. Preston Ekdahl at the top of the screen. 12 seconds left. Dabby Cab all the way in the back. Big Show Picks making a charge. Here comes Preston. My horse is falling apart. 3 seconds left. Who's taking third? It is Big Show Picks. It is Connor Mack Picks. And it is Johnny Guns. Johnny Guns out of nowhere. I thought Preston for sure qualified there. Wow. Big Show Picks. Congratulations. Connor Mack Picks and Johnny Guns all advancing to the next round, which leaves us in our final race here. Our final race. 3 spots left for the taking. Who is going to come home with it here? Gerald Jones, Bo Jackson, Joseph Thompson, Chosen One, Jeff, Tori Coker, Rez Mob, Jay Peasy, Big Ragu, Zoe Faye, BT, who just won this past, or yesterday, I should say, and our guy Justin McKelvey in the mix here as well. The horses are ready. They're in the canals. And we are off and racing in San Antonio. Here we go. The final qualifier for our championship race. Our top 3 horses qualify here. Joseph Thompson and Chosen One poke their noses out in the front. And seemingly, they're fucked, according to what we've seen so far. BT biding his time back there. 7 seconds left. Who's coming home with it? Who wants it at the end? Little Domo makes the charge. Little Domo wins the race, and the top 3 is, wow, Little Domo, Chosen One, and Justin McKelvey, all in the finals here. Wow. Just everything coming up McKelvey right now. He had that grand slam. Now is this the start of the championship DVD for Justin McKelvey? 12 horses on the track here. We'll put 45 seconds up. Wow. Justin McKelvey, Chosen One, Little Domo, Johnny Guns, Connor Mack, Big Show Picks, J-Dub, Truth Teller, Joey Harb, Browns Hughes, Picks from Dave, and TJ Parks. Rick J, I'm pretty sure you had a horse in there, Rick. Don't scare me like that, Rick. Did you have a horse in here, Rick? I mean, now, I'll double check right now, and I have to double check the membership things as well, Ricky J. But I'm pretty sure you were good. Oh, well, Rick, actually, let me refresh my members thing, because unless you became a member, Rick, I don't think you're a gold member, unfortunately. Rick, I hate to see that. Rick J, I don't want to stop the entire program just to call you out on not being a gold member, but you are a Weeby Puppet member, Rick J. So, no, you do not have a horse in this. They are for gold members, unfortunately. But yes, $9.99 a month you can be in these races here. Rick, you scared me, Rick. You scared me. But I looked. I love you, though, Rick. Thank you for being a Weeby Puppet member. All right. 45 seconds on the clock. And yeah, Kelly, re-race them all. Recount it. Let's go. 45 seconds on the clock. $50 on the line here. And we are racing in San Antonio. Here we go. That's the Bobano horse right there. 38 seconds left. Everyone pretty even. Truth teller right now seems like he's got his nose in the lead. Justin McKelvey at the top of the screen. Chosen one, Little Domo, Johnny Guns all in the mix here. Connor Mack picks wants some action here as well. Truth teller falling back to the pack. Justin McKelvey in the lead. Browns Hughes at the bottom of your screen making a charge. TJ Parks falling back here. 15 seconds left. Who wants it? Who's going to take home the glory of today's Friday horse race? Johnny Guns in the mix here. 10 seconds left. Johnny Guns and Truth Teller coming down the stretch. Who wants it? Who wants it? 4 seconds left. Justin McKelvey. Whoa, look at Chosen one go, but it's TJ Parks. Yet again, congratulations to TJ Parks. TJ, I think this is 150 bones for you, TJ. I think you won a $100 race the other day and now another 50 bones. Congratulations to you, TJ Parks. Chosen ones, Browns Hughes. That hurts. That hurts. But maybe next time, guys. Next Thursday, it's going to be fun. Next Thursday, more gold member races, as always. So shout out to the members of this illustrious channel. And shout out to you, TJ Parks here. All right, guys. We appreciate you guys on a lovely Friday afternoon. A tight 2 hours. We covered all the games on the card here. Let me review my action here before we get out of here as well. We appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys because if you guys didn't watch the show, I wouldn't have a job. So thank you guys is all. We need you guys as always here. All right. Let's go. My bets and my action here today. I have to get the juice for some of them here, but I will tweet that out. So follow me on Twitter at Jose Bouquett. Dallas, Minnesota, NBA bet for Jose. Under 207.5, minus 110. Dodgers, Reds, over 10, minus 120. Oakland A's team total over 3.5, even money. Baltimore, Chicago White Sox, first 5 under 4. Texas, Minnesota, over 9. Philadelphia, Colorado, over 11. Chicago, St. Louis, first 5 under. I didn't even write down what the number was for that, so let me grab that real quick for you guys as well. Apologies for this slight delay, and for those people who are like, wow, this show's over quickly. What am I going to do now for the rest of the day? You go and watch the other programs on Pub Sports Radio, obviously. It's a great time. First 5 under 4 at plus 105 for me there, and the Cleveland Guardians, Los Angeles Angels, first 5 under 4 as well there. So we appreciate you guys. Oh, and the WNBA play of the day, obviously. Los Angeles Sparks plus 1, minus 105 for me. Fading Caitlin Clark. It's going to be a fun game to watch. But I appreciate you guys again. Without you guys, I would not have a show, a job, and I appreciate you guys. As always, Rem, you love me, buddy. I know you do, Remy. I love you too, and I'm rooting for your Oilers. Oiler up. I'm rooting for you now. I've got my McDavid jersey somewhere in my closet. I'll break it out, and I'll be rooting for you, Rem. Steve G, shout out to you, my guy. Feel that. I'm that heat. And yeah, it feels like you're getting left out of school. Yeah, it's like a 2-hour early release. Justin McKelvey, shout out to you, my man. Appreciate you, and I appreciate you. Kelly, Tori, AOD, Steve G, Truth Teller, all the green in the chat. I appreciate Rick J. And Rick J. No, I love you, Rick J. Obviously I was just busting your balls. And I appreciate you for being a We Be Pubbin member. Mark Kellen here, Skunt Blaster, Fernando Mendoza, Nasty Nate. Shout out to you, Cody. Swig Bets, thank you for your hard work. Shout out to Ron Crawford for dropping his plays of the day in the chat. He's on Minnesota. His spreadsheet dog was San Francisco. Shout out. Perky Sanderson was in here for a bit. Thank you all. BJ on the Wolves, by the way. You guys know BJ runs with the Wolves when it comes to the bets. They're big bets. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. And Justin, we'll see. Justin, we'll see. Just don't make me put another stake bet on a WNBA game, Justin. I'll fucking do it. I will fucking do it. But thank you guys as always. I appreciate it. Say hey, and we'll see you guys right back here Saturday morning. Say hey plays, Dabby Cap, myself. Till then, see you guys.